Hey everybody, what is going on? I want to welcome you all to another Q&A. Now, for future reference, I put out I would say roughly every month or so. I usually put out on the community tab on my channel on YouTube. I'll put out like a question. I'll say, hey, I'm going to do a Q&A soon. Post your question below. That's how I get my Q&A questions. So I'll be posting another Q&A community tab question pretty soon, and you can post your questions there for a future Q&A. So I just want to let you guys know that's how I get my Q&A questions. So yeah, today we're gonna do a Q&A. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I do want to say one thing though before I start. I started binging a new show. Well, not a new show. It's actually an old show, and I absolutely love it. It's Gotham. Gotham. It's like the prequel to Batman, and it kind of, the whole story is kind of set through the eyes of Commissioner Gordon. And I've heard a lot of people hate this show. I'm on season 4, and I still absolutely love this show. It's a lot of fun. The Penguin, played by Robin Lord Miller, is a really interesting take on the character. Very different, very unique, but it works. It works really good. He's actually one of my favorite all-time comic book heroes on screen. He's that good. I love it. So if you haven't seen Gotham, it's on Netflix. I've been binging it. The show's been canceled for about a year and a half now, but I absolutely love it. So anyway, I don't want to digress too far. I just want to let you know what I've been watching, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So if you haven't checked it out, you should definitely give it a shot because I've been really enjoying it. But without further ado, let's get to this Q&A. So the first question comes from Dennis Broadbear, and Dennis is asking, do you think Walt would love to see the Skyway buckets come back to Disneyland Resort? All right. Well, thank you so much, Dennis, for this question. I really do appreciate it. Now, this is one of those like, what would Walt do kind of questions. And I want to make it very clear. I'm not trying to speak for Walt, okay? I'm not trying to like pretend like I know what the man would have done, okay? Because I don't know, just like anybody else. The man died 50 years ago, and I'm gonna give you my opinion based on what I know about Walt Disney, okay? Walt Disney was very much a forward-thinking guy. Everything was like next, right? I don't think, in my opinion, again, this is my conjecture, but I don't think that Walt would have, lamented or wanted to bring things back from the past that have already been removed. Knowing what we know about Walt, I think he would have seen the Skyway closing or shutting down as an opportunity to bring something new in, something more innovative, something more interesting, something fun, something different that he hasn't done already. I really don't see Walt Disney kind of going back into the past and trying to resurrect old attractions. That really runs counter to what Walt Disney was all about. You know, he wanted Disneyland to change. He wanted it to evolve. He wanted to constantly plus it and change it, right? So no, I don't think Walt would have wanted to bring the Skyway back. Okay, I really don't. And I'll even take it a step further, to be honest with you. Walt died in the 60s, right? And he was only like 60 something years old. He like 65, I think, or 66 years old when he died. If Walt Disney would have fulfilled like a typical lifespan of like 80, 85 years old, he would have been around, would have been with us for like another 20 years to like the early to mid 80s. If Walt would have lived that long, I think we would have seen major changes to Disneyland. Major changes. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw huge areas of the park bulldozed and rebuilt. I wouldn't even be surprised, to be honest with you, if he bulldozed the castle and rebuilt a new castle. Walt Disney was constantly wanting to change and try new things. And look, as fans, we try to hold on to this stuff, right? We're very nostalgic. We love our Skyway. We love our People Mover. We love these things. We want them back. We want to bring them back. We don't want to let them go. But I don't think Walt Disney, and again, this is my opinion, I don't think he was that kind of guy. Okay, I think he was more about what are we going to do going forward. He wasn't really looking back a whole lot, So that's just my opinion. But man, I thank you so much for the question. That was a great one. And the next question comes from Mara Parker. And Mara is asking, do you think Autopia will get electric cars, or do you think the ride is doomed? Mara, so thank you so much for this question. Okay, so Autopia, right? Do I think they're going to get electric cars? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Now, a lot of people, whenever I mention to people that they should get rid of Autopia, this is the first thing people always say. Well, why don't we just give them electric cars? Then it'll fit with Tomorrowland. Well, will it? Will that make it fit Tomorrowland? In my opinion, it does not make it fit Tomorrowland. Electric cars are not some far off distant technology. Okay, I can literally go to a car dealership today and easily get an electric car. Electric vehicles are very much today. They're not really the future in the sense that the technology is so out of this world, right? Electric cars have been here for a long time. I remember in the early Obama administration, he was talking about electric cars when they were, doing the whole like auto bailout thing, and like the first year or two of his administration. That was in 2009. So electric cars are not a new thing. It's certainly not the future in the sense that it's something that's completely alien to us or whatever. It's very much now. And so I don't think that's a solution to Autopia. Electric cars or not, it still doesn't belong in Tomorrowland. Now, do I think the attraction is doomed? Yes, I do. I do think that they will get rid of Autopia, and not necessarily because it doesn't fit the theme of Tomorrowland, but more because of real estate. They're running out of room in Disneyland, right? Galaxy's Edge and Mickey's Runaway Railway have really cut into the backstage area of the park. They're running out of areas like that to expand, and they're going to have to start looking inside the park now for any kind of expansion or new additions. Well, Autopia takes up a huge swath of land between Tomorrowland and Fantasyland. It straddles two lands. You could actually expand Fantasyland and Tomorrowland with the land you have for Autopia. It's an outdated attraction, whether they have electric cars or not. It's a relic of the 1950s. And I think its time has come. I really, really do. And when you have a resort and a park that's really, really limited on space, to have a go-kart attraction, which is basically what this is, take up that amount of room, it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. So I do think Autopia is on borrowed time. I do think because of COVID, it'll be here for a little longer than originally planned. I think the budgets and everything are going to be real tight for a while because, Disneyland shut down, and I think money's going to be really hard right now for Disney. So I don't think it's going to leave us anytime soon. Like, it's not like imminent, but any renovation of Tomorrowland that we get, Autopia is gone. Totally gone. I think within the next, if I were to guesstimate, within 10 years, Autopia will be a thing of the past. And I won't miss it. Its time has come. It really has come. It had a good run. I know it was an opening day attraction, but really its time has come. We have to move on from Autopia and put something else in there, in my opinion. Thank you, Mara. I do appreciate the question. And the next question comes from Mr. Michael Madsen. And Michael is asking me, will the Fantasyland dark rides ever become outdated enough that they are removed or completely overhauled? All right, so interesting question, Michael. Do I ever think that the Fantasyland dark rides will be removed or overhauled? Well, they kind of already are overhauling them. They've been doing this, and Disney's been actually really good about this, in the span of like the past, I guess maybe 7 or 8 years. I don't know the exact timeline, but they've done Alice in Wonderland. They kind of brought new projection mapping and things to that attraction, which I absolutely adore. They did the same thing with Peter Pan. They're working on Snow White. So they're already kind of like renovating them. Okay. They're already keeping them fresh as we speak. In terms of will they ever get removed? Ever is a pretty broad statement. Ever? I mean, I don't know. Maybe in 50 years they won't be there. Yeah. I mean, or 20 years even. I don't know. But do I think that they're on the chopping block? Do I think Disney's looking at those attractions now to replace them? No, I do not. No, I do not. Those Fantasyland dark rides are extremely popular, and I think they're here for the foreseeable future, especially since they're investing in them. They're giving them love, some TLC. And like I said, Snow White is they haven't even finished that one yet. So that one is safe for a long time. They just did Alice and Peter Pan, I think for the 60th anniversary, if I'm not mistaken. That's not even like really that old. Only like, what, 5 years old now, 6 years old. So no, I think they're safe for a long time. I think they will continue to add new technology as it arrives. But I think they're safe for the foreseeable future. If Disney's going to expand Fantasyland, it'll be in the Autopia area or maybe the Fantasyland Theater. I think that's where they're looking, or in my opinion, that's probably where they're going to be looking for any new Fantasyland additions. Thank you so much for the question. It was a great one. Thank you. Thank you. And the next and final question comes from Brandon Carey. Brandon is asking, which area at Disneyland do you think needs a refurbishment other than Tomorrowland? All right. So Brandon, this is an excellent question. Thank you for it. Okay, yeah, obviously Tomorrowland is the fixer-upper in the park. That's the major problem area. Other than Tomorrowland, I think the park looks really, really good, but there is one eyesore that I do think they should address, and I think that's the Fantasyland Theater. This theater has always been hideous. It's been hideous. It's never really fit into its environment. I mean, technically, it's part of Fantasyland, but it doesn't look like it belongs in Fantasyland. It's a lot of vinyl and metal beams, and it just looks very cheap. It doesn't fit like the real whimsical thing that's going on with Fantasyland. It just seems very tacked on and cheap, in my opinion. So what I would want them to do is I'd want them to completely destroy that theater and give us a great new dark ride that really brings that back area into Fantasyland more, makes it feel more like part of Fantasyland. And it could be anything. I'm not like particular about what franchise they choose. It can be the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, something that's maybe Frozen or Tangled. I'm not too particular with that detail, but I would love to see some sort of really immersive Fantasyland dark ride in that spot. I think it would aesthetically improve the area, and I just think it would be a better use of space. Now, I'm also not against keeping it as a theater. I would like to see live entertainment at the park, and if they keep it as a theater, I'm totally fine with that. However, the caveat to that, if they keep it as a theater, I really want them to still bulldoze it because it's ugly, and give us a theater that actually fits the area. Okay, no vinyl tent, no ugly metal beams. Give us a real nice, immersive looking, European village type of theater that really brings it into Fantasyland, makes it feel like part of the land. If they're going to keep it a theater, at least do it right. Okay, so that's my thoughts. I think that's really, the Fantasyland Theater is the one fixer-upper outside of Tomorrowland that needs a lot of work. Okay, a lot of work. I mean, I shouldn't even say it needs work. It really just needs to be bulldozed and either put a dark ride or a brand new theater in its place. And that's really about it. I mean, I think, Toontown has areas that look pretty shoddy in terms of chipped paint and things like that. But I think those things are going to be addressed with Runaway Railway. I think that's going to be part of the package when we get that attraction. So I'm not really including that. But yeah, that Fantasyland Theater, yeah, that's my number one thing. I think that really needs a lot of work at Disneyland. It definitely does. Thank you so much for the question, Brandon. I do appreciate it. So that concludes this Q&A. And like I said before, on the community tab on my channel, I'm constantly putting out, call to action in regards to Q&As. And you can post your questions there. You can even post your question on an old post of mine. I have from a month ago, the Q&A post. post your question there now. It doesn't even matter. I look at it, and if it's a great question, if I feel like there's a lot to discuss there, I'll add it in the next Q&A video. So just keep that in mind. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And as always, have a magical day. Bye-bye now.